now.
Okay, great. Thanks, Amy. Grateful to be here. Thanks, everybody, for your participation. We enjoy doing these webinars, and we learn a lot from them, and hope you do as well. You know, when we talk about help desk and service desks, there's really one main thing that drives everything help desk, and one thing that should drive most help desks if you're going to be a good one, and that's really ease of use in our mind. The four things I kind of want to talk about today is it needs to be easily for you to gather information from your end users when you're supporting them. It needs to be easy for you to work on tickets and requests, passing information around. It needs to be easy to report on that information. And of course, it needs to be easy to configure or make changes in the system. And so those are kind of going to be the four things that drive us through the system today. My demo database, I'll apologize up front, has a lot of stuff in it. I probably need to clean it up. Some of it, though, is helpful because it's a little two-edged sword. It reminds me of things that maybe I haven't talked of in the past. So the first thing I'll mention regarding the system is it's completely web-based. This, again, makes it easy for us. You can push it out to your users in a variety of ways. And you can work on it via mobile devices. So everything you see me do in the system today, you can do on a mobile device. A few of the reports you cannot. I mean, you can run them, but you're not going to have some of the same graphicals on phones, but you will on tablets, you know, iPads and other tablets. So the first thing that I'm going to do is log in as a user. You'll notice that the user here has a portal that they can come to and see the tickets that they currently have opened. Hopefully you don't have a problem user like Nikki here that has 35 open tickets. But this is important for some users. You know, we call them power users. They will come here and see information and communicate with you more in the ticket in this area. The vast majority of your users won't. But what will be important to them here is new ticket, creating a new ticket. So just a little history here on group. You'll notice when I click this drop down, there's a bunch of information that I have in here. As I said, my demo maybe needs to be cleaned up, but this kind of reminds me of how group got started. You know, we focused just on help desk and submitting tickets for the IT department. However, it was so easy to use. We had a lot of people come to us and say, hey, I'm getting contacted from multiple departments in our organization asking if they can use the help desk to do this or to do this or to do this, you know, passing information along. So just this maybe can give you some ideas. You know, we are basically for IT departments and help desk, but we can be used in many other departments. Most of our clients use us in the IT department and the maintenance department, lots of human resources, but we have, you know, for training teachers, tracking complaints within the workplace, lots of different things that can happen, transportation departments, and this is where group comes in. You can limit these, so Nikki can't see all of these. If you'd like the user using the ACL tool in the help desk, you can define what they're able to see. So Nikki has a problem with her computer. She's going to select help desk. This is the first step in submitting her ticket. You'll notice that all the contact information is already filled out. We're pulling this. We integrate with your directory services, eDirectory or Active Directory or Open Directory, anyone. And we're going to pull this information across from there to automatically populate who Nikki is, where she's at. The user should not have to do this. This makes it easy for them. We should know who they are and where they are. All Nikki needs to do is select these drop-downs, which are going to be defined by you. So all of the drop-downs you see in the system today, you configure, you say what they are, so don't get thrown off by anything that I put in. So if Nikki comes in, she's having a problem, let's say, with hardware, and it's her workstation, you'll notice she's made 2 clicks, and we've already got an assignment that's going to be heading to a ticket pool, which we have our technicians to work on. It really should be that simple for end users. If you make it much more complex than that, you're going to lose. They're not going to fill out the form. They're going to grab you in the hall. They're going to be emailing you. We really want them to use the form. There are some things that you can do here, however, to make it better for you or easier for your technicians. For instance, let's say Nikki selects server. You notice that the assignment is now going to a specific person, which the user cannot select. So we can auto-route tickets based on location and type of problem. So this is going to Andrea Pillsbury probably because she handles all the server issues. The workstation was going to a ticket pool which would have a group of technicians to work on it. The other thing that I should mention regarding these drop-downs in this form is, let's say I select printer. Again, you'll notice we're sending this to a ticket pool, but now another question has appeared. Are the lights flashing? Simple, silly question kind of, but this is an example of what we call custom fields that can be added to the ticket. You can add as many custom fields as you want, and they can be anything from radial buttons to drop-downs, check boxes, text fields, date fields. And you can really put a lot of information or gather a lot of information from your end user here. Our only advice here is, we give you the ability to put as many as you want, but remember, end users are like water. They follow the course of least resistance. So again, if they open up this ticket and there's 15, 20 fields, you're going to lose again. So keep it simple. And but this can also benefit you in gathering the information you need right up front. If it's a printer problem or if it's this specific type of problem, you want to gather certain information to help solve the issue. So it's been very simple for Nikki so far. She's just done a few drop downs. She can put in the subject, what she thinks is happening. She can add an attachment. You define on the back end how large that can be. And then Nikki's just going to save that ticket. When she does, two very important things happen. The first is her, as the end user, will receive an email saying, hey, we've logged your request. Thanks for submitting it to us. We've got it. We'll begin working on it. The second thing that happens is whomever is in this assignment field also receives an email notification saying, hey, you have a new ticket. If it's a ticket pool that is going to, you decide. So maybe you have 10 technicians in there and you want 2 people to be notified, or maybe all the technicians. It's your choice, however you want to do it, to be notified there's a new ticket. So the great thing about these notifications are, let's say that we know you're very busy and you're going to get an email. Let's say you get it on your mobile device. You're in between locations working on different hardware issues or whatnot, and you get an email that you have a new ticket. You can reply to that email from your mobile device, and it will come back into the system, and then the system will record that information, and Nikki, the end user, will get a new email with the information that you sent. And she can do the same thing. So you can communicate back and forth with your end users via email, your email client on your mobile devices, anywhere you want. And we're going to track and record that information and put it all into that ticket history so that you have it for reporting. Okay. I'm going to sign out real quick, and we're going to log in as a technician. You'll notice I've logged in as Tony Stark. He's our technician today. You'll notice that his screen looks similar but has much more information, more tabs on it. We call this the My Ticket screen. These tabs represent 2 different things for a technician. They represent groups that he's a part of. Remember, those groups were driving everything at the beginning where the ticket's being routed. They also can represent custom filters. So each technician has the ability to filter through the information they want and put it right on their main screen for working. So you'll notice I have created for myself and assigned to me. This is all the tickets that Tony has to work on, 173, very busy. Hopefully you're not like this. He has his high priority watch list. This is a part of the help desk. So Tony's actually a manager, so I built a filter that said, I want to see all of my technicians' high priority issues. And you can, put tons of different criteria in there to filter the information, but I can display it right here on my screen so I can keep track of things easily. These other tabs, you'll notice here's the ticket pool, here's HelpDesk. So this is every ticket that's in the HelpDesk currently. Hopefully you never have 1047. This is because I create tickets like mad and never close them. But you can see quickly here what's happening, high level, but that's the idea, is to be able to custom build your screen. Here's the ticket pool with the tickets that are just sitting at pool that haven't been dispatched yet, and then a couple other that I've built. I'm part of a change management group. I have 5 tickets there and my personal watch list of 2. And again, you can filter this information however you want. So my watch list could be as simple as, I want to see all the tickets for my boss, right? So just in case he submits something, you can see them. So let's say Tony's going to work on a ticket. He can just double click and open up that ticket. And you'll notice that it looks very similar to when the end user filled it out, but there's some more information provided here, such as priority, status, estimated completion date. You know, these are, again, defined by you, but there are things that we don't obviously give to the end user because everything would be, you know, overdue, and you should have done it 4 days ago, and it's world ending to them. So if Tony wants to work on a ticket, he can do a variety of things. If he comes here into the ticket and he just wants to add a comment, he can just click the Add Comment button, put in whatever information he wants, and you'll notice we have checked on the back end that we have a global default set that we want to notify the user of this change, and so we can do that. If he doesn't want to, he doesn't need to. This is always going to appear, this screen is going to appear every time a change is made on a ticket, regardless of whether or not the technician puts notes in. We're going to timestamp and put what happened to the ticket. So if he changes the status, he opens, he closes, whatever he does to it, we're going to timestamp that and record it. This should look familiar, you know, placing a phone call, scheduling an appointment. I can schedule an appointment. I can come in and I could actually busy search. This is going to busy search his group-wise calendar for Nikki and see, you know, maybe I want her there because I need to get into the office, or maybe I don't want her there so I can perform some work via remote. A great feature that has some integration there with your Novell technologies and GroupWise. So right now this ticket's at third-party vendor. Let's say I've received the parts. I can say, okay, now it's going to be a work in progress ticket. I can save it. You'll notice we go to save it. That screen appears. I've time-stamped the ticket. This is what's happened. It's gone from third-party vendor to work in progress. I can let the end user know that, you know, we have the parts. We'll begin work. Whatever my message is, and I can save that ticket or continue without comments. Now the user receives that as a notification that everything's taken place, where we're at with the ticket. If for any reason, just a few things to mention here, this doesn't really fit with my scenario, but I just want to make sure that you know, it's aware you can create sub-tickets in a ticket, so it's a parent and child system. So if I needed help with this ticket, I can. I have a couple options, and it really just depends. This is, again, making it easy for you to work on and to communicate back and forth. So because I'm a technician, I can click the assignment field, and you'll notice here's general assignments based on what location. If they select printer, you know, this is going to go to Peter, James, or the ticket pool. But I can pass this to somebody just by changing, hey, I need Gus to work on this. Now I'm going to change the assignment to Gus. He's going to receive an update that what's happening, and I can put notes in which he will receive and be notified of. Or I have another option. I can create a new sub-ticket. That ticket fills out with everything that's been there, and now I can just make a note to Gus. I can assign it to him, and so there's a separate ticket tracking that. You can do it either way, whatever you prefer works better for your organization and your policies. You'll notice there's also assets. We have a built-in asset piece that you can use with the HelpDesk, or we do also integrate with Novell ZenWorks. So from here, that development computer, I can click and log into it. You'll notice it pulls up for me my login to ZenWorks. This will take you directly into the machine. And I believe they have a setting in ZenWorks. You can specify whether your technicians have to log in, you know, what's the time frame before it kicks them out, every 6 hours, once a day, etc. I can also just click, once this has been saved, this remote icon appears. So we can VNC connect and remote control the computer without even going into ZenWorks. And everything you do in ZenWorks or in the VNC is going to be recorded pardon me, going to be recorded in the system so that you can run reports on it and track it. Okay, so it's very simple and easy to work on tickets. I only mentioned one way in which we get information into the system for your technicians. That's because we strongly believe that you should have just one point of contact for them, but we give you a variety of options in doing that. So I talked about filling out that form. You'll notice if I create a new ticket, the other option would be, we talked about a user submitting it. Well, the user can call a technician. So if you're doing it via phone, a user can call in, or maybe it's a walk-in to a specific office, and I can fill out the ticket for the user if I need to. They're having a help desk issue. You notice it thinks it's me, but I can simply start typing, and this is going to pull from your directory. This ticket's for Nikki, and I can fill out the ticket for her. That's another way, and there's even another level to that. We hear from people that do that a lot that, hey, a lot of their issues are the same or they're very simple, like how to reset a username and password, and it takes a while to fill out that little ticket for them. Well, you can create via ticket templates for the help desk. Let's say Nikki walks in and she wants to know how to reset her username or password or change her default printer, some types of issues that you solve regularly with the same solution. Well, I can just click this and say, this ticket's already filled out. We've done it on the back end. We've built it. I just have to say as the technician, hey, Nikki walked in and asked me about how to reset her username and password. The ticket's filled out, has a solution. I've even marked it as closed. You decide all that. You build it on the back end, and all I have to do then is launch that ticket. Again, the idea is to easily gather information regardless of how you're going to put it into the system. Probably the most popular that I'm going to talk about now is email to ticket. So you'll notice that this portion of the ticket looks like an email. That's not by accident. We do have email the ticket feature which monitors per group. You can have a mailbox. So if multiple departments or multiple teams can have different email, and so I can just email the help desk if I'm having an issue, and the system will pick that ticket up, that email up, and turn it into a ticket. It will know from their email address, their contact information, pull all that from the LDAP, and put their message and information here, and then drop it into a ticket pool for you to pick up and assign to yourself or dispatch to someone else. Okay, so really you can get information in the system in simple and easy ways. Now we want to kind of talk about more on a few other things that technicians do. We know that you don't just sit there and wait for problems to happen, even though it feels like there's so many you don't have to wait very long, but we know that you're doing proactive things to work with technology and really keep an organization running, and we want to be able to support you in that. I mentioned ticket templates as creating a quick ticket, but we can use it in a couple other ways which I think will benefit you. So let me go to templates really quick and just talk about that. So for help desk, the first thing that I want to mention is maybe something to do with preventative maintenance. Here I have server maintenance. Let me just edit this for you. So you can come in and build these. Tony can do this because he's a manager for the help desk, so they can be built per group. But he can build and say, hey, we have this Dell server. I need Peter Parker to do the service on it, perform a backup on it, etc. Whatever you want as far as preventative maintenance goes, you can attach best practices. So you just fill this ticket out once, and then you set a reoccurrence to it. You say, hey, Peter should be doing that monthly, and he should do it on, and we don't want to be mean, so we're going to make him do it on Monday, not Friday. The first Monday of every 3 months, he needs to perform this, whatever it is, and we save that. Now Peter's going to get an email and a ticket in his queue that says, hey, here's your, a new item for you to work on. And Peter, if he'd like, he can create in his My Ticket screen, as these tabs, he could create, here's all the things I have to do for preventative maintenance. And all those tickets would be there. He can filter the information that way if he'd like, or it will just appear in his regular queue of work to do. So that's another way you can use ticket templates in preventative maintenance. The third thing that I want to talk about with ticket templates would be workflows. And so examples that we kind of have here is termination or a new hire. There's certain things that happen, and these things actually workflow processes that go across multiple departments. If your other departments are using the help desk, you can do some great things with workflow in them. So let's specifically talk about a staff member leaving or a termination checklist, either one. I copied and gave them 2 different names if you noticed. Here's a list of the things that we need to have happen, and these can be in different departments, final payment, This is going to be obviously human resources department, closing accounts, right? These are all different things that we need to be a part of. You can assign them to different technicians. You build this process on the back end, and then you just set it to a workflow. So these appear over here. I've just simply dragged and dropped them where I want. So all of those tickets, which are each a step in the process, appear on this side, and I just drag them and say, okay, my first 2 steps is someone needs to fill out the checklist and do this form. And when they've reached a specific status, now remember these statuses are defined by you, so don't get thrown off, but I'm saying, hey, when that reaches an approved status, then we'll send out these 2 other tickets. When those 2 tickets have reached a completed status or they are closed, then we'll send out this ticket. When it's approved, then we'll send out these 3, these 5. You get the idea? And it's as simple as dragging and dropping. You can have as many steps in a workflow process as you want, and you can have as many tickets, sub-steps within each of those steps. So the idea here is not to notify someone until they can actually do the work for you. This works great across multiple departments again, but also just within your own department. If there's different things that need to happen from different IT members, you can just build a simple workflow and we'll pass the information around. Or maybe you just want them all to go out in the first step. That's a possibility too. You'll notice up here, mark it as private. What this allows you to do is you can make a workflow process that's obviously private, but if you want to have the user the ability to launch the process, you don't want to mark it private. Then the user can actually go in and select, hey, I want to start this process. I want to request a new laptop. Then that process can be kicked off by the user. I hope that makes sense. Okay. I want to get a little bit more into now reporting and how simple and easy it is to report and pull information. Let's just say that you have, a bunch of tickets that start coming in for phones because you had phones down in the morning and you wanted to be able to solve that issue. Well, people are going to be starting to submit a bunch of tickets on that. So for filters, first we're going to select search. So let's say I really wanted to see all of those tickets in one thing. So before I even give it a name or anything, I'm just going to come in here and run a quick filter. So let's say that was happening at all the locations except for my headquarters. So I'm going to select, hey, this is, show me every location that does not equal, and I don't have headquarters in, this is for school, district, setup, demo. So I'll just say district office. So we'll say everything that doesn't equal the district office. And then let's say, we're looking for phones. So we're going to select a category option. It's all the tickets that have come in for the help desk that have equals phone. Okay, and we want to see a specific time frame. So we're going to say all of those that were created in the last, 4 hours. So if I run this report now, it's going to show me all the tickets that came in that are not at headquarters, at different locations that have to do with phone in the last 4 hours. I'm going to change this real quick because I don't update my demo enough. So we're going to change that so we can actually get some data. If I did last 4 hours, you wouldn't see anything. But I'll just apply that filter now. And you'll notice we have a report pulling up with some data information. All these tickets have the same solution. I don't want to have to go through and answer them all one by one, which is why I ran this report. All these came in the last 4 hours. So I'm going to look at 390 is my first ticket. That's where it hit the queue first. So we're going to take ticket 390, and you can shift-click, control-click, but you would go through and select all of your tickets, and then you would say, hey, let's do a mass update. First, I want to group these all together because they're the same problem. So 390 is going to be my parent ticket, and my status is going to be closed or completed. And I can put a note in and say, here's what's happened with the tickets. We're marking them all as closed, etc. So you can mass update tickets. I could save that. And now all of those tickets have been completed, and they're grouped together because they're the same issue. And I don't have a huge influx of 300 tickets just sitting in my queue that I have to answer one by one. Okay, so you can really, that was just an example of how you can filter through information. You can filter by anything that you want. The columns over here is kind of like an Excel spreadsheet. This is how it's going to display. So these are filtering the information, and it's going to show me the priority, ticket, location, subject, category option, assigned to status, and created date. If I'd like to see who it's assigned to first, I just simply drag that to the top of my list. If it's not over here and you want to add a column, you can again add any column that you want, even those custom fields that we're talking about. You can filter off them and add them to be displayed on your report. I'm pretty confident that anybody in your organization could take 20, 30 minutes and play around with the ticket filters and be able to start slicing through and cutting through, seeing the information that they want. So these are just filters, and again, if I like that filter that I built, we don't want you to have to do that every time. You can name it, mark it as private, and save it, and you'll notice Tony has a list of his filters that he uses a lot. You'll notice his public filters, he doesn't have any. It's because he's not a sharing guy. He's kind of a stuck-up dude. Okay, so I can come in through and run these anytime I want, or edit them or delete them. These are the filters that Tony uses the most. And again, so your technicians could come here, build a filter, save it, and then in their My Ticket view, they could add that filter to cut the information, display it how they want it displayed. The next step is that we have to usually send that information or share that information with our bosses. I call them picture people. They don't want to see the information how we just looked at it. They want to see it in a graph, an image, and that's where reporting comes in. You can create new reports. They're driven by those filters that we just showed. And so here's some of the reports that I've already built for Tony. And they're really very simple. I'm going to edit one for you to show you. Here's our location of open tickets. First we'll run it so you can see what it looks like. So we have a location of our open tickets here. We're looking at who's doing what with them. So here's my technicians. Here's the ticket pools. And I can drill in. Jared Ward, 161 tickets. What's going on? Well, they're all sitting at a work in progress status. I can even drill into work in progress, and I can see all of his tickets. Looks like a bunch of them from the same person. Okay. We can edit these, and this will show you how it works. So your report, you can name it whatever you want, and then you select a filter. So here's all the filters that Tony can select that he's built. He's going to pick his location of open tickets. And then he can drill into this information. Technician and status is what you just saw, and the format was HTML. It can be PDF, Excel, it can be a CSV file. We had it in a bar chart, it can be a pie. The great thing here is we can say, hey, let's run this report on a schedule. This needs to happen weekly, and it's going to happen on Friday, and we have a range of occurrence here that we've set, or you don't have to have a range of recurrence. It can just never end. And then we can have it emailed out. So we could create this report as a PDF and email it to a boss who maybe doesn't even have a license in the system, but he can still receive a PDF with all the information of the report that he requests from you every week, and you'll never forget to do it because the system is going to do it for you. Or you can have, this scenario can run a bazillion ways. You can have it emailed out to your technicians for your weekly meeting. Hey, I want you to, come and talk about all your high priority tickets, and you have them a report that's emailed to them showing them their high priority issues. We can look here at closed technicians this month by technician just so you can get another look. Here's all the closed issues that we have this month by technician. Looks like, some aren't working very hard, some are working quite a bit. Peter Parker, we can click in. Here's the type of issues. That's the second drill down we selected. What type of issues was he working on? What did he close this month? A bunch of database issues, quite a few monitoring issues, or issues with monitors, and you can click in. So if router I wanted to see, here it is. Here's all the router tickets that he was working on. And you can even click on that ID number, and it's going to launch you and take you directly into that ticket. If this is a PDF that was emailed out to somebody, and they don't have rights for the system, or if they're not logged in and they're in the PDF, all the drop-down clicks work the same until you get to clicking that ticket number. It will then launch a web browser and ask you to log into the system. So if you have credentials, you can see it. If not, you can't. However, that leads me to my next point. You do have some abilities to grant access to users in the system via our new ACL. So you can provide the ability for different people in your organization that don't have a technician license, they're just users in the system, they're submitting tickets, but you want them to be able to see certain things on the ticket, not on the ticket, etc. You can do that using the ACL in our system. Okay, so that's reports, really easy to work on. The final thing, remember, we talked about easy to gather information, easy to work on it, easy to run reports and filter through the information. Now we want to talk about easy to configure, some things that you can do there. So I'm going to go to settings here. Remember, Tony is a manager of the help desk, so he has a few other rights. The first thing I want to show you and talk about is the scheduler. The scheduler is going to provide you with the ability to really work with service level agreements, auto escalation, auto closing of tickets. So there's some examples here. You can build service level agreements based on type of problem. And again, you'll notice here these two tabs, these represent different departments. So Tony's a manager in the change management department and also help desk. So he can build scheduled items for each thing, each department. So I'll edit this 24-hour service level agreement. So what we're saying is no matter the category or category option and any of these statuses, if it's been 1 day from the time it was created, we're going to change the priority to overdue. And we're going to send an email to who it's assigned to and maybe CC the manager. Now, if we were really nice people, we'd probably build another schedule item that said, hey, when it reaches 20 hours, when it's 4 hours to our service level agreement, let's email the technician and just remind him, hey, it's 4 hours until you've reached the service level agreement, and provide him some information. You'll notice here, we're tagging the subject with information directly from the ticket. Here are those tags. You can copy and paste them into that email, including the link to go directly to the ticket, but you can provide in that email any of the information that's in the system. And then with that service level agreement, depending on how annoying you want to be, you can just have it go out one time, or it can repeat until something changes on the ticket that disqualifies it from meeting the criteria of the SLA. I hope that makes sense. And again, you can do a bunch of stuff here. So you can have specific service level agreements for specific types of problems with categories and category options. And remember, you define what these are. So it could be different for, if it's something to do with hardware, or if it's something to do with your network and a mapped drive, maybe the service level agreement is different. You decide that. It's easy for you to customize and change to meet the service level agreements that you want based on how you're functioning with your processes, your technicians. It's really up to you. And again, then you can do some other things here, auto escalation based on a specific issue. So if something comes in, as soon as it hits the queue, has been there for 1 minute, we're going to email these 5 people and have them work on it. You can even build, let's say, remember, since you build you customize and select everything that's in a drop-down, I've seen our clients put in, in statuses, awaiting, feedback from Dell or a different vendor that they put in, and then they have a scheduled item that says, hey, any ticket that's, waiting for parts from Dell that's sat for 7 days, let's email, and they just put that contact's email in the CC field in the scheduler. And then that person, even though they're not in the help desk, they're going to receive an email from the help desk saying, hey, what's happening with this? Can you give me an update on these parts? If they respond to that email, it goes right back into the help desk so we can record it. Okay. One other is there. Awaiting customer feedback is one that our customers really enjoy and really use. They just tell all their technicians, hey, we have a status called awaiting customer feedback. Anytime you've made an update to a ticket, put the status to awaiting customer feedback. And then they have the scheduler run and say, if a customer or client or end user hasn't gotten back to us in 4 days or 5 days, if it's sat for 5 days awaiting customer feedback, email the contact. So email the end user so we can hold them a little more accountable and say, hey, we're waiting to hear back from you so we can solve your issue. There's nothing worse than being blamed for somebody else's lack of productivity. How many times do people say, I would have got it done, but the IT department didn't fix my computer. Well, now we can say, actually we did. We tried contacting you these several times. Here's the emails, here's the dates, etc. Okay, really quick. Working in the system and configuring the system is very simple. It's easy drop-downs. Most people, when I show them, they say that's so simple. It seems too simple, but that's the idea. is making it very easy to use. So this is an example of how to add custom fields. I can give my custom field a name here. I can select what type I want it to be, you know, hey, a drop-down. I'm going to select then when it appears. So if someone's submitting a ticket to the main office and it's in the help desk and they select, you know, hardware and server, we're going to make this required, and now we just add what options. So now they have to answer whatever question we put here. So we can label this whatever we want. The other thing that you can do with custom fields is very beneficial with your ticket templates and your workflows. You know, many times there are forms that go along with different processes in your organization in a workflow. You can take that form and turn it into a ticket with a bunch of custom fields, so that then when that process is happening, you're requiring technicians and or users to fill out more information on that form. Again, very simple and easy to work in the system. Final couple things I'm just going to mention is that we do have a knowledge base. It's set up so that you can have a public and private knowledge base, meaning you can have articles and tips and tricks and different things to pass information to all of your users that you want them to see. And again, this can be by group, and you can use the ACL to determine what they see, but they can, you know, we have people that put information on here, you know, for the Human Resources Department for 401k. For HelpDesk, it can be all of your non-technical articles, and they're all individual web links. So these can be things as videos, PowerPoint presentations, things that are very appealing for end users to solve their issues. And then you can have private, meaning more technical articles that you don't want the end users to see because they're just going to get lost, that your technicians can use as a resource for solving and working on tickets. And then dashboards, this is high-level reporting. So you can take those filters we talked about that build reports, just as the filter provides information to the report, then the report passes the information to a dashboard. A dashboard can have multiple widgets on it, which are filtering and showing the information in real time. It updates like every 60 seconds. And so you can toss this up on a monitor that everyone sees, or just even on your monitor, and you'll be able to see what's happening at your location at a 30,000 level view. All right. That's what I have slotted to show today. I appreciate everybody coming, and if you have questions, let Amy know.
Okay, perfect. Thanks, Kyle. Again, if you have any questions, please put those through on the chat or the Q&A. And Kyle, so far I have one question that I've seen come through. Let's see. She said, can you send one of the ticket steps to someone without EHD and let the reply notify you to change the status? I believe she's talking about in ticket templates.
Correct, and their email reply would not change it, but you could give them the rights to, with the ACL, see that status, and so then they could simply click, you know, they would only be able to go in and mark the ticket as approved. It's all, they would be able to see the ticket, but everything would be grayed out except for the ability to go to the status and say, I approve this. So they don't even have to do it via email. They would just click the link, log in using the same credentials they log in as a user, so it's not different, but we just have given that person the rights to mark something as approved. Good question.
Okay, and I'm not seeing any other questions at this time, but if you do have more questions, feel free to follow up with us directly. You can email us here at info@grouplink.net, and we can get your questions answered if you have any additional questions. So thanks again, Kyle, and we'll go ahead and wrap up for today. Thank you all for joining us for today's Technical Solutions Training webinar.